So in terms of the pulley situation, I think you perhaps saw it in an earlier video where we've got the old setup and the new setup, and neither of them kind of work in the place where it's supposed to. I'll just show you here. Yeah, we've got the combine pulley, which is the 8-rib type, but a bit too big. And then you've got the old type, which is V-belt, but doesn't fit on anymore because of the bracket. There is actually another solution that we've come up with. So this was actually my brother's big brain moment. These tractors have the same, I don't know if you can see inside there, the same 8-rib belt, but that pulley is like coned so that it comes backwards. So why not use that on the old blue spindle? I'll show you what I mean. Hang on, let me just go get some spanners and take this off here. Don't tell me Dad I'm going to steal his pulley off his tractor. Right. That's it. There we go. We won't need to tell him, but I've stolen this off there and I'm going to go put it on mine. So this is where the big brain moment comes in, is that you've got the original spindle there. Just to catch up on what we're talking about, that's way too big. It fouls on everything, literally everything in there. So that's out of the question, and it'll run very slow because it's geared down. However, this on there means I can use the original spindle, the fan, which is here, in theory, bolts on. Let's make some space. Doing everything one-handed like an idiot. Fan bolts on there. Look at that. Just spin one of these in now. It's not perfect. This is the first time I've offered it all up, but put one of them in, and one of them in, and this is the idea behind the theory. I didn't actually steal that off my dad's tractor. I got it from Nick Young Tractor Spares. They were very good. They helped me out on the phone. I told them it wasn't actually going on a green tractor, and the man on the phone figured out what it is I wanted. These aren't really listed as parts almost anywhere, so I've had to get a used one. So he helped me identify the part and get the right one. And so, yeah, ultimately, now that, see how it steps back? All I've got to do, this bracket's going to go. I'm just using the spindle that's on the bearing. Comes through here. I think I'm going to, this doesn't fit anyway, so get rid of this. But that means I can align it now wherever I want in that direction with the rest of the setup on the tractor. And that means I've got a fan pulley setup then. I have offered it up inside. It does clear everything it needs to clear. There is a slightly smaller one of these, and I've got a few days to return it if I do think this is wrong. I could opt for the smaller one, which brings it a bit closer to that, which would speed it up a bit more. But if I'm honest, I don't really know. I'm not at the point to knowing how effective that would be. So, yeah. We kind of got a lot of colours going on here. We've got green on blue, and then we're getting rid of the yellow. Just need some massy parts on it now. Nick Young Tractor Parts. You're very good. Sorry to keep jumping from part to part, but I'm just going to go through everything I've been up to while the camera's been off. Carrying on with the water pipe, I've run out of MIG wire at the minute, and this is a bit messy. Please do not pay much attention to my welding, but yeah, just waiting for some new MIG wire to arrive, and then that, once it's in there, like I said on the previous video, these rubbers will get replaced with new ones once it's all set up properly. So these old dippy rubbers, as I'll call them, they're just for lining up basically, and just getting us going. Yeah, so this is continuing on with the water system, and then that'll bring it then using my previous water relocation thing that I made in the last video. This will keep it going. It looks, there's a lot going on. Pipe work goes through the oil cooler and then into there. But I think to stand back and squint your eyes, it's probably as tidy of a thing as I could possibly get. So yeah, that's what I'm doing with that. Just gonna put this back on the workbench, and then I think I'm gonna go through some of the comments that some people put on the last video, because there's some interesting comments, some interesting questions, so I'll answer them on here now. As there's not much I can do right now, I think I'm gonna have to bring the cavalry in to have a look at that injector pump again. Well, not again, they haven't looked yet, but I mean, continue working on it. I haven't got any welding wire, there's some other parts I'm just waiting on. I'm kind of just at a little bit of a standstill right now. So what I'll do, I'll go through some of the comments that people put on the previous videos, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask me on the comments on this video. But yeah, let's get stuck into it. Eric says, the fuel tank that you will have to use, brackets and radiator shims will be your friend. I think I've conquered the radiator issue with the pulley setup, so I don't think that needs to change. Also, I perhaps didn't clarify it in the earlier videos, but this is all sorted now. I was able to lift that up slightly higher, shorter filter on there, and now the fuel tank lifts to where it needs to. I will have to drop the fuel tank every time I want to change the filter, but how often is that really? I can't even get it running yet, so that's least of my worries. 1394 DB says, good progress. You will have to change your oil filter pipes to be flexible, that's these lines, if your platform is rubber mounted. It's the steel lines that you have made such a great job on, thank you. I beg to differ. The fuel lines, the steel lines that you've made such a good job on won't last 5 minutes in the field. Well, fortunately, this isn't rubber mounted. This is all fixed, and the bracket, you can see the steel bracket there, goes straight up and is pretty much straight onto steel, which is where it's mounted anyway. So I don't think there won't be any movement between the platform and the engine. It's all one solid piece. So in that regard, we'll be okay. But good thinking. I didn't actually think of that, but fortunately it is solid. Good video, mate. Trees, tractors and timber says, good video, mate. You have a lot of patience. I think a lot would have given up with the problems you've had. Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is just a passion project. I guess this is my hobby. This is what I'd spend my weekends on. So yeah, most people probably would have given up or tried something easy or something different, or there are a lot better people that, I tell you, I don't know what I'm doing. There are a lot better people who could probably have sorted this faster than I could. But I know what I want. I know how I want it to be done, and I want it to be done a certain way. I want it to be kind of, you know, these obstacles that I come up against. I've also got to factor in cost and time. Well, time's not that much of an issue, but it is, but like there's no deadline on this. But cost, ultimately, ability, I have to work in all this stuff. And that's where this comes from. Like I could have quite easily gone out and, well, I say quite easily, I could have tried to source all the oil filter housing and cooler and everything from like an 8770 Ford New Holland. But then there's the cost involved with that. There's also being able to find these parts, quite hard to find nowadays. I'm sure they are out there, but hunting around, and I only get like 1 day a week to work on this anyway. And yeah, it costs. So I want to make work all the stuff that I've already got here. I've pretty much everything that exists on this engine is there for a purpose, and I want to kind of use it for that purpose. The more I strip stuff off, it kind of starts creating more work in other areas where it's not really kitted out. So yeah, if it's on here, I'm going to try and make it work. Ian Wallet says, good video. I think if you put the engine in upside down, everything would have fit better. Yeah, I agree. It's like everything, not everything has been against me, but it turns out it's not quite as straightforward as just bolting in. Now, if this was like a smaller Power Star engine, which is the same engine, but like, you know, 6-bolt crank, smaller timing gears, regular oil kit, all the rest of it, was like the smaller tractor engine that was built on this block. Yeah, absolutely, bolt, 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 all go together. Everything would line up. I think I've gotten like the biggest, clumsiest version of this engine going into an old clogger of a tractor. So there are parts where I'm at the opposite end of each scale with each thing. So like, you know, I've had to cut the front pulley down because it wouldn't fit in there. I've had to manage with stuff on the back. So yeah, you're right. There would have been an easier engine to fit. There would have been a lot harder engines to fit as well. I haven't had to make up any adapter plate or anything. So, you know, swings and roundies. Vintage Tractor Ollie says, sounds like you've got a good plan in your head how to sort every problem. I don't. Honestly, I'm just batting away problems as they turn up. Yeah, so Lindsay Buchecker, if I say that right, it says, you should have moved the bottom radiator outlet to the other side and saved a lot of mucking about. I don't think it would have saved any mucking about. I can't fit it here. I've got the drain plugs. There's a little oil cooler built into the bottom of this radiator. I think it would have just been a different amount of mucking about. At least the way I've done it, I've not started butchering existing parts. I'm just plumbing together existing parts. And if something goes wrong, it'll be my plumbing, not knackering the existing parts. So yeah, I think either way would have been mucking about, and I still have to muck about because I have to come from here still to here. So that would only have solved like a third of the travel where I've needed to replumb these pipes, that goes all the way under the radiator. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I don't really agree on that. I'm just going to address a comment that someone put on a video from 2 videos ago. From Richard Weymouth. Now, occasionally I get people putting comments on and I have to kind of like filter through the noises to advice and what isn't advice. And actually, that guy kind of made some sense. It was when we were spinning this over and we weren't getting any diesel through the pump, and my initial thought was that the rack was stuck. Well, he said, why not check the banjo on the return pipe as it was flowing straight through the return. Now, I hadn't actually checked that before, so first thing I did was take this off. In fact, no, that's not the first thing I did. First thing I did was actually have a look inside there. I thought that's what you should do. As I look in, he said there should be a spring and a ball, and often the spring breaks. So I look in and shine the light in. There's no spring. So maybe, okay, is it further in? I don't know. Ooh. Well, that could be part of the problem. Not with me, but I think of the previous owner. So I took this bit out, and look, no spring, no ball, no pressure. The point is that holds the pressure inside the pump. Now, I've since read up, and I believe it's supposed to be between 20 and 27 psi inside the pump for it to work. Well, without anything holding that pressure back, it's just going to run straight through. So, good spot there, and I appreciate that help actually. So, I did a little bit of research, and I wasn't entirely sure if I was buying the right thing. This is actually from a Cummins 5.9, but that has they can have the P3000 or the P7100 pump on, which is a bit similar to that. That's the P3000. And it was different, so I carried on doing a little bit more research, could not find one of those. Anyway, as it turns out, I found an exploded view of this pump, and it's explaining what bits are, and it says on that little bit there, it says do not remove in brackets. Well, I think someone's come along, tried to bleed it using that screw, spring's gone pew across the field somewhere, and they've gone oops, put that back in, and the engine's never run since. In looking for this type, there's a type that doesn't have the screw in the end, it's completely molded in. Well, if it's molded in, then you can't lose it, can you? So, in theory, Dad's just moving some bales around. That all fits. That should now hold pressure. I need to obviously tighten it up with some spanners. I'll do that after I've cut the video. But I'm gonna just clamp that up now. If that works, I don't know yet, we're watching this as it unfolds. If that works, that was a £10 fix. That's all that cost, was £10 and 2 days to ship to me. So I'm going to tighten that up now, try and prime some diesel through it. In theory, if I put the battery on and give it a spin, we can get some fuel out of those injector pipes. And that's all I wanted all along. A super expensive diesel return tank. juice in that battery. So ultimately it turned out to be a non-starter again. I can't get any fuel coming out the top of the injector pump still. I was hoping that was the fix, turns out it's not. I can feel the rack moving in there when I pull the stopper up and pull it, so I don't think the rack's stuck anymore. I don't know what's up. I am aware that I think the starter's probably a little bit against it in terms of its size. We've got, you know, oil hasn't circulated around yet, everything's cold, it's probably like the most dead it could be, so the starter's got a lot of work to, you know, to get spinning. Also, it probably ought to have been a slightly bigger starter as well, a bit heavier duty, so everything's a little bit against it there. I think the way it's going to end up being is I'm going to have to have someone proper come and look at this pump. I've done everything that I'm capable of sorting, so it's time to call the cavalry and get someone else to look at it. Yeah, I think that's going to have to be it for this video. If you are following this journey, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because then I can be posting more videos and you can be watching them videos. Yeah, sorry, there's not been that much work in today's video. Just waiting on parts, waiting on some other things. Struggling with that pump, so I'm going to need someone's help. And today's a Sunday, so I won't get anyone's help. Yeah, best thing you can do is watch the next video.